freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 407 of Gun Freedom Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is Parenthood and Politics, and our guest is Janel Lamb. Janel is the author of 2 books, a mom, a grandma, and the wife of Mark Lamb, who most of us know as the American Sheriff. Janel is focused on faith, family, and freedom, and as a law enforcement and political spouse, she shares personal stories of wins and losses and spreads a message of hope. We need that.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, Miss Janel.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And boy, do we ever need those things: faith, freedom, messages of hope. And you are the author of 2 books. I was just chatting with you off air that I love just what you've written on the back of those books. They're so inviting. They just make you want to connect with a real live person, you and your husband, your whole family. You don't put on airs. You just are who you are. And that's so, I think, rare in this Instagram world that we live in nowadays.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Talk to us about these books and what was the driving force?
Well, my original book, I wrote this one. I'll hold it up here. Sheriff's Wife, Holding It All Together Behind the Scenes in Politics. That came because, I was helping Sheriff Lamb write his first book. And the English side of things is just kind of more my forte. I can write a blurb, I can write you a paragraph, I can write you a bio. So I was kind of helping him kind of put some things together. And he said, you should really write a book. And I thought, at first I thought, that's kind of, I don't know about that. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to write the book that I wish I had when we were running for sheriff for the first time. Like I jumped into this political world with him, and I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a helper. I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have anybody to help me navigate any of that. And Pinal County is very big, and there's a very wonderful established, political groups here and all these things. I had no idea. I didn't know who was friendly. I didn't know who was who. I didn't know who anybody was. I didn't know what to wear to certain things. I had no guidance whatsoever. And then all the things that we went through, and I talk about in there how it's like having a child. Like you can babysit and you can read about having kids, but until you're the parent, you really can't know what it's like to have a child. And it's the same way with running for office. You can help on a campaign, you can be politically active, but until you're the candidate, you really can't know what it's like. And so I thought, I'm going to go ahead and write the book that I wish that I had when I was going through everything we went through. And I think there's a lot more common ground than just politics in there. And it just is as people, just all the lessons we learned going along the way. So that's really where that kind of all came from, I guess.
That is, so impactful to me when somebody says, I had to find my own way. I didn't have a mentor. And so I want to, try to help the next person along the way. I think that is so important. And I mean, you're a mom, you're a grandma, you're a wife. You have walked a lot of paths that you have a lot to offer to people. So to encapsulate that in a book, I think was generous of you, honestly.
Thank you.
I love that you did that. And so
it just seemed like a no-brainer. You just don't really hear a lot from political spouses. They really kind of go dark. And I actually talked to one of our Congress people, and I was talking to him and his wife, and she told me, she said, when you go run for federal office, they sit you down and they say, hey, you need to go dark. You need to just, post very benign things online. Just keep it very simple. Don't put yourself out there. And I said, well, I didn't get that memo. Nobody gave me that class. Nobody sat me down.
I don't think you're going to do that.
No, so I just put it all out there. And so for better or worse, this is what it is.
I love that. And so I think that is a good segue to the next book, which is, do you have one of those sitting handy?
I do. So then I was ready for a follow-up, Bravery Blinders. I wrote this one last year. So I actually had read through some of my first book after about a year and a half. And I thought, boy, this is really outdated. Like I'm not outdated, but like for me, like there's just more to the story. There's just so much more we've learned. Now being in more of the political spotlight, Sheriff Lamb, obviously my husband, he's, just getting more and more and more popular, and we're doing more and more things, having more opportunities. And so I thought, I feel like it's time to write a part 2. And he was actually writing his second book at the same time as well. We just like to do things together. So I'm like, okay, if you're writing another one, I'll write another one, and I'll add on to my stories. And so Bravery Blinders is just more lessons we've learned after being in the spotlight. I talked about my 90-pound weight loss. I talk about losing my mom suddenly to pancreatic cancer. Talk about, more experiences we've had with our kids, because anybody who has children that are adults now know that there's the little years are difficult. The teen years are differently difficult, and the young adult years can be even the worst of all. And so there was just so much more that I was surprised by. And so I thought I would share some of that as well. And so I made basically a volume 2 of just more experiences and lessons learned.
Absolutely. So, talking about, I think we're probably fairly similar in our age and that kind of life experience, but I put all my eggs in one basket. I have one kiddo. And so it was going to either be all good or it's going to be all bad. So,
yeah. Okay. I like that though.
And so now she's given us 2 amazing granddaughters. And so it is just so fun and interesting to see how, and our daughter Cassie brings it up to us a lot. She's like, you are a way different grandparent than you were a parent.
Oh yeah. I get accused of that too. I love being a grandma. I'm so hands-on. I just love those little guys. I have a 3-year-old grandson and a 2-year-old granddaughter right now, and they're just the cutest things ever. I just love them.
The cool thing is that you can do whatever you want with them, and then you can walk away.
Right? That's right. That's right. And I really feel like I was close to my grandmothers, and I really want that relationship with my grandchildren. So I try to invest as much time with them as I can.
It's so true, but it's so different nowadays. The interview we were doing before yours was with the lady named Seek Smith of Mom Army, and she's really out there fighting her phrase is "Stop the War on Children," right? The sex trafficking, the sexual messaging that's aimed at younger and younger children, this sort of thing. How are we going to help our children navigate so that they can help our grandchildren navigate? What are your thoughts on all of this?
I think my daughter and my daughter-in-law are, for the most part, planning on homeschooling or being very, very intentional with the school, with wherever they send. They don't have screens. And because it is from a young age. I mean, just the other day, my son was saying, my 2-year-old granddaughter, she doesn't really like screens. There's kids that just gravitate towards the screens. And then there's other kids that are just, can't be bothered. And she's kind of one of those that can't be bothered, but they were letting her watch. She's really into Baby Shark, like what 2-year-old isn't. And so they were letting her watch it on YouTube Kids. And my son said they had to cancel it because within like 5 videos deep, there was this more trans agenda for a 2-year-old. Being vigilant. being vigilant. We didn't have to be as vigilant when we were little. We could put on a Disney movie and, you know, go do the dishes and didn't have to think twice. And these moms nowadays just have to be so just eyes wide open, vigilant at all times of everything their kids are seeing. And it's heartbreaking and it's really hard to watch.
So Janelle, are you saying that they had a transgender shark?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was thinking, okay.
The baby shark video's fine, great, totally benign, easy, baby friendly. And then the next video is a shark with something else. And then the next video is a shark with something else. And then it's just like this progression that they put in there. And I think that they think mom and dad are going to walk away after a certain amount of time. You know, they have all this stuff. So psychologically, they've figured out, you know, how long is a parent going to pay attention sort of stuff. I feel in my heart that there's a very, very specific agenda, and they do things specifically like this, where they mom and dad are going to take their eyes off the ball at about the 12-minute mark, or, you know, whatever. And then that's when they start feeding in all that stuff. And unless you're paying attention, you're going to miss it. And they're going to see all sorts of weird stuff.
But why are they doing it?
You know, I think it's just an attack on the family. Honestly, it's an attack on our families, and they want to break these kids down as early as possible. You know, it used to be, oh, you know, in the schools, they were trying to do it. Now it's the littles. And I think if they can get the hearts of our little kids, and make them even just feel like mom and dad can't be trusted, or mom and dad don't, you know, listen to you, or any of those, just those subtle messages. They're going to do it. They're going to drive every wedge in that they possibly can as early as possible, so that when the kids can start making their own decisions and doing things, they're not going to listen to mom and dad anymore. They're not going to listen to their values, and it's tearing families apart left and right. We're watching it every day. It's really horrible.
Yeah, and they want to make the children make decisions at 3 and 4 years old that are life-changing too.
Yeah, I know it. I can't. I actually did a piece for Turning Point last week, because they were concerned about taking the words Mother's Day out of our Mother's Day, basically, and making it Birthing Person's Day or Special Friend Day. And I just was like, I can't. I have to say something. So I was part of a project that they're working on, even just taking the sanctity of motherhood away. Because it just erodes that trust, it erodes that beauty and that sacredness. I mean, it's a gift of God to be able to have children, and they're just trying to just kind of muddy the waters and confuse everybody. And I hate seeing it. So we have to just stand tall. We just have to stand tall and speak out. And it's not easy, but
no, because you're labeled. You're labeled something. You're called something if you speak out.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what? Actually, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. Call me whatever you want. I've probably been called worse. And if I have to go to my grave being called something, you know, unfavorable because I stood up for children and for motherhood and for God, I'm fine with that, actually.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love that. I think you're right on. So, you know, we're talking about kind of like the snake pit that culture has become.
Mm-hmm.
But it is nothing compared to the snake pit of politics. And when I don't have to tell you this, when one person runs, it really does impact the whole family. Like you said, somebody sat you down and said, okay, here's what you have to do with your social media. Right. And you're not the one running. So it is like a whole family thing. And God forbid our kids do or say something online that's going to reflect badly. I mean, how does your family navigate and handle all of that?
Well, we're really fortunate because our kids are adults, and they're all very conservative. They share our values, and they believe in what we're doing. They believe in what their dad is doing. They fully do everything they can to help me support him. And so they're all on board, and I think they're just happy that they don't have to be the ones doing it. They're fine to just support from the background. But yeah, they understand, you know, that it's going to get ugly, and it has been ugly in the past. And you know what we do, and it kind of goes back to this bravery and blinders. You just have to have the courage to do it anyway, because we say it all the time. we're running for Senate now. And I say we, I say that out of habit, but it really is a whole family project, especially my husband and I. You can't listen to that stuff. I tell my friends, do not send me negative articles. Don't send me, attacks on me. Like, there's nothing I'm going to do. I have my blinders on. I know what we need to do. And it does take courage to step out. We know that they, I'm going to just say the opposition, whatever, is going to spend $30 to $50 million trying to destroy our reputation, destroy us as people, break us down. And we know it. We're kind of just like bracing for what we don't really know what's coming, but we know it is coming. The tsunami is coming. And we're okay with it because this country is worth fighting for. Our families are worth fighting for. Our platform is worth fighting for. And I think people will see that. And I think they'll see who we are. The more we step out, the more we speak out and just be who we are and be authentic. So.
Yeah, your whole family is amazing. And I just can't believe that anybody would do negative press on you, because having Mark for a senator is probably one of the best things that could happen. And it's just
amazing. He really will. He really will do a fantastic job. This is right in his wheelhouse, which we didn't have plans for this at all. It just has been since probably maybe October or November of last year that we really started kicking the tires, because we had so many people approaching us. About the end of last election, we had multiple people that we really respect, people who understand politics and people who understand who he is and what he's done so far, say, you really need to consider this. And so what we did was we kind of were like, that just doesn't sound ideal. And we had pushed off governor, we had pushed off the Senate race before, and we were like, no, timing's wrong, this and that. And then we started feeling more and more, the more we researched and more looked into it and more tried to find reasons not to do it, we started finding reasons to do it. And then it just felt right. And through prayer and just a lot of discussion, realized that this is what we really need to do. And so here we are.
The only negative, there is one negative of him running for senator, and that's that he won't be the sheriff anymore.
That's true.
That is true. And that is actually a huge consideration. That was really one of our main reasons not to do it. Right. That was really one of our main excuses. And, the Lord does crazy things, and he helped Sheriff Lamb and command staff and, higher ups in the sheriff's office really come to a conclusion of who would be an amazing sheriff to take his place. Because he's like, I won't do it unless I'm leaving Pinal County in amazing hands. And the right guy is ready to go. So
awesome.
We're fully supporting him, and we hope everyone else will too. But he's awesome. His name is Ross Teeple, and he's running for Sheriff of Pinal County officially. So we're really excited for Ross. We think he'd do a great job. So we're leaving Pinal in good hands. No worries.
And he probably knows what the Constitution is, right?
He does. He's very well versed in the Constitution, Second Amendment. He's fully ready to tell the feds to pound sand if they ever come here and try to do anything. Very cognizant of our rights and protecting those. So
we have a sheriff. We have a sheriff in Maricopa County, and we have a senator, Mark Kelly. Neither one of them know what the Constitution is, and they were voted in. I don't want to say elected, voted in. So I just don't understand how these people get elected when they don't stand for the Constitution.
Right. They take an oath. And
I can't speak to Sheriff Penzone only because he's a friend of ours, but I think he's a good man. He is a good man. I think, but I mean, politics get crazy and people have their opinions, but Mark Kelly that's rough. That is rough. They just, I think Arizona's really ready for someone to lead and lead Arizona. Just be a beacon of goodness and goodness for Arizona. Like, for all the years, however you feel about John McCain, when you think of Arizona, you think of John McCain. And we really haven't had like a leader like that. for Arizona, we've had this kind of weird revolving door of senators where they're getting appointed and then they have to run in 2 years and then they get, voted out, and then other people in and then they quit. And it's just been this crazy thing. We really need some stability here, because Arizona is such a great state, and we've kind of lost our place at the table because our senators are kind of radio silent on really important stuff, and they're just not leading the state at all.
Right.
So I think Arizona is really ready for someone to really, I don't want to say be a figurehead, but just kind of be a beacon of Arizona, and really show people around the country and around the world what Arizona really is.
Absolutely. I also think of Goldwater,
Yeah.
Just a very definitively, this is an Arizona-esque
Yes.
ideal presented through a human being. And
Yes.
I, just the fact that, Sheriff Lamb is the American sheriff, he's the Arizona sheriff as well. You know what I mean? And
Right.
all of those ideals really just radiate off of him. And there's something about both of you. I mean, he is such a gentleman. Every time I see him somewhere, I always feel like he's never going to remember me. I'm going to reintroduce myself. He always remembers me. And he's
He always does. He's so good. Yes.
so
He remembers everybody.
Oh, it's an amazing gift.
Yeah.
But he's so kind and gentlemanly. And I feel like even that is fading away. It's becoming a little bit of a lost art. And then
and that's what we've talked about too, is like we're tired of politicians that are trying to be pundits. There's a big difference. It's like I feel like a lot of politicians these days are trying to, well, first of all, they speak to what crowd they're with. They kind of change what they say, which is
pandering.
Too bad, we don't like that. And they're trying to always find like a viral soundbite or like a name calling or attention. We don't need that. We leave that for the people on TV. Leave that for the people who get paid the big bucks on the news stations to do that stuff. We need statesmen, and we need people who are going to represent Arizona, all of Arizona, not just, the MAGA people, or not just the Democrat, like everybody. And I think he's really the person to do that. So I'm excited to see what he does. He's going to knock it out of the park.
Plus, you'll be able to write another book.
Yeah.
Right?
I know. I'll have all these stories
the
to tell.
senator's
Oh
wife.
my gosh.
The senator's
That sounds
wife.
scary.
Fantastic. I love it. Well, you have more opportunity to bring you back and talk some more. So
anytime.
As we, start wrapping up, and you did touch on the Second Amendment a couple of times, and never in my lifetime have I seen the firearms themselves and our rights to own them come under attack the way that they have. And the politicians used to dance around it and say, oh, we're not coming for your guns. And then we have this Beto O'Rourke person and all of his ilk saying not only heck yeah, but specifically what guns they're coming after.
Oh yeah, they accidentally said the quiet part out loud, and I think it sent off alarms in everybody's head. Like we all kind of knew the undercurrent, the agenda, but now they're just so bold, they're just going to say it. For Second Amendment, for me, what I kind of cling to is that gun rights are women's rights. We have to be able to defend ourselves, and especially here, our crime rates are soaring, and especially in the big cities and all these places. And it's just the world is more and more dangerous. How are you going to take away our ability to protect our own lives and our families' lives? It makes no sense to me. And that is why I will always say gun rights are women's rights, and women need to be empowered to feel the power to go get familiar with a firearm, own a firearm, know how to use it, know how to keep it safely, and be able to use it in case of an emergency.
Absolutely. And, it is always refreshing to hear someone else's perspective. We are, as we've said, we're moms or grandmas. What we do, not only, we're forging forward. So whatever we do or don't do is going to have reverberating effects for the future, but it's also messaging to the generations coming up to say, this is important enough. This is a line in the sand. and I am protecting it for you. And then I'm going to hand you the baton with the expectation that you will also protect it. And so it's empowering and encouraging to hear you say that, and that you agree how important those things
Of course.
are.
I mean, I grew up in rural Minnesota. So I grew up in a hunting, and, we butchered chickens, and there was just guns, was part of our existence. And then even in high school, like, we would go on dates. Like, my date would take me to go shooting. Like, that's just what we did in high school. And then of course, I married Mark, and of course he's just a huge gun enthusiast, and, would have hundreds and hundreds of them if he could. And, I'm sure at some point he will. And then we've raised our kids that way. Like, we've given all of our kids a gun when 22, when they turn 12, take them shooting. And now I love seeing my kids taking my grandkids. Yeah, they're 2 and 3, but I have a great video of my 3-year-old being taught by my oldest son, who was a 82nd Airborne. He's got a great AR. And so he took him out and was helping my 3-year-old grandson shoot the AR. It's the cutest video ever. They're laying on the ground. It's very cute. I mean, we teach them that guns are good. Guns keep us safe. And how to use them properly. So
when you said that, Janelle, it reminds me of that video where that reporter shot the AR-15 and said he hurt his shoulder. Oh, remember that?
So ridiculous.
And you got 3-year-olds that are being properly trained and shooting a gun and smiling and having a good time.
Oh, and that's just it. I mean, it's what we like to do. Like, that's what my kids, that's what they want to do on Christmas Eve. That's actually our Christmas Eve activities, to go shooting.
Oh, nice.
We really are gun enthusiasts at our home. So.
And rights enthusiasts. And that is exemplified through the work that, and the service that you and Mark together have done, as he's been playing out the part of a constitutional sheriff of county, the Pinal County. And, I say it exactly that way to harken back to what we said earlier, is that it's all of you who are serving, and for you to be, the honorable person and life partner and wife and mom and grandma that you are, that just puts wind under his wings and helps him do his job even better.
It does. And, sometimes I used to kind of get a little caught up in like, oh, I just pick up the dry cleaning, and but I keep everything going so that he can focus on what he needs to do. And as you can imagine, like, our life has gotten even busier, which is hard to imagine. If someone had told me, 3 months ago that our lives would be this much busier, I would have not believed it. But yeah, it is definitely a team effort. And we love to work together. So we try to just, balance each other and do what we can to help the other person do what they need to do.
That's what makes it work. That's the way it is with us too. Is there's a lot of things I do under the behind the scenes so that she can do what she does, and that's it's a team, right?
Right.
Yeah, we're on year 38, and we've worked together that entire time. So we say we should get double.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. So we're on year 29, and we've worked together pretty seriously for about the last 6 years. I stopped being a flight attendant and all that about let's see, in 2020. So it's been a couple years that I've been kind of working full time for him, just getting things done. So yeah, it's definitely a team effort, and we love it. We have so much fun together. So great.
It gets easier after 35. Just saying.
Well, that's pretty good because we're doing pretty good now. So if it gets easier, that's great to know.
You know what? It is. It's almost too easy now. We understand 100%, and we have for many, many years. Our toughest year was our 3rd year.
Yeah,
it was hard. But
I don't know what year it was for us, but I distinctly remember the year for us, 2013, being pretty rough.
Yeah.
You just have those years where you're just like, wow, that was tough.
Glad to see that in the rearview mirror. But,
I do not want to repeat that. Thank goodness. But you have your downtimes, but you know what though? That helps you appreciate what you have now. Like that, right. I think now of how we are and how we interact and how we are with the kids and each other. And I think, we really had to go through all that to be able to come out the other side and really know where we need to be.
Yeah. And neither one of us would have what we have today if it wouldn't have been for the two of us working together. And I'm sure the same thing for you.
Exactly.
For sure. 100%. Yep.
Well, you two are an inspiration, and I am so excited to watch this next chapter of your journey together as you launch into a Senate campaign. Take a deep breath.
I know.
And dive in. And you're both always welcome on here for any time you have something important you need to share with the community and with the people and the voters.
Thank you so much. If you want to support us, you can go to sherifflambforsenate.com. Or if you'd like to order my books, you can get them on either Amazon or at sheriffswife.com. So
Perfect.
if you go to sheriffswife.com, I can sign it and personalize it for you if you put that in the notes too. So
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm sure we will be seeing you around. We run with a lot of the same crowds. And
you guys are going to be sick of us. Arizona's going to be sick of the Lambs. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, just get into the Senate already so you can leave us alone.
I love it. I'm ready for that. Okay. Well, thank you so much. We will talk to you again soon.
Okay.
God
Thanks,
bless.
guys. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. She's awesome.
Yeah. And
That's so
it's
fun.
all down to the constitutional. The only reason how we even got to know Mark and her was because we knew that he was a constitutionalist, and that sealed it right there.
No, that's exactly right. And so I've had invited Mark several times to speak at the big Second Amendment rally on the lawn of the Arizona State Capitol building in February. And he is just always so yes, like how do I get to yes? There's been a couple times, one time specifically, that his schedule just wouldn't allow for it. And he kept apologizing. I'm thinking, again, such a gentleman that he would care that he would apologize.
You know where he needs to speak?
And Janel coming out, she would run the booth, she would run the table and sell the books and talk to the people. And I just really feel that they are part of the fabric of what we do in this advocacy world that I live in. I'm sorry.
So the GRCP or GR gun right policy, he should speak at that when it comes to in November, right?
That is in October. This is 2023, so that'll be in October here in Phoenix. So that's a great idea. We should definitely talk to the organizers to see about that.
Anyway, it's awesome to know him.
Decent people.
Yeah.
It's like, I've said several times, he's a gentleman, she is a lady. They just have kind of that traditional feel about how they treat each other, how their family is, how they speak to others, and it's so refreshing to me. But I love that she has written those 2 books, and I usually have those before I do an interview. But I'm going to get online right now, and I'm going to get an autographed copy of both. So
I know you will. I know I should have got you one for Mother's Day.
Seriously, I wasn't thinking.
What is that called? Birthright?
No, stop it. All right. Well, thank you again so much to our amazing guest, Janel Lamb. Thank you to all of our viewers and listeners all over the planet. Wherever there is internet on this globe, we have people who want to tune in, people who are interested in the subject matter experts, the amazing people who have come and spent their time to be with us on Gun Freedom Radio. So if you want to watch this video over again or share it with all of your friends or watch any other of our videos, go to YouTube or Gunstreamer, any place you find your videos. And when you do, please click the subscribe and the notification button. That tells those powers that be, those algorithms, that this is content that's important to you, that is important to the world. And then if you want to listen to the audio only version, because maybe you're out enjoying a day on the lake or taking a long drive or something like that, walking the dog, go to our website, GunFreedomRadio.com, click the On Demand tab, and
binge listens to your heart's content, darling.
Darling. If you want to see photos and bios and links
Oh,
and
my.
buy books, maybe of the guests that we've had on, go to the guest tab. And there is a huge database, a huge resource there of subject matter experts. And when you spend time there, we don't hate that. All right. Until next time, what are we going to do?
We're going to pray
Pray
for our
for
nation,
absolutely
our leaders.
people who are stepping up into leadership roles or changing from one kind of leader to another.
And not just the leader, but pray for the family of those leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's some people out there that are in leadership roles that maybe frustrate us. What about them? Should we pray for them too? He goes silent. Yeah,
My mic
mic
went out.
Your mic went out. Especially those people who frustrate us need our prayers. That's what I said. Yeah.
My mic's
No.
trouble.
Nobody believes that, Dan. Nobody believes that. All right. Until next time, have a great week. Be good to each other. And God bless.
Bye-bye.